it's Christy. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to day 3 of my 2024 holiday card series. Today I'm going to be making a card using Lawn Fawn's Cheesy Christmas, Holiday Helpers, A Creature Was Stirring, Christmas Dreams, and Fly High. So I've stamped the images I'm using on Spectrum Noir Ultra Smooth Premium White cardstock with Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink. And I'm going to be coloring to match a holiday inspiration photo for our current Lawn Fanatics challenge. So I'll pop that up on screen so you can see the color palette that I will be working with today. I'm going to be coloring with my Copic markers, and I am starting with my mice, and I'm going to use W00, W1 with E70 and E71. This is my current favorite combo for mice. I just really enjoy it because it makes them look really soft and cozy. So I'm starting with the E71, and I'm going to color all 3 of these little festive mice with the same combo. So I'm just using that E71 to lay in my shadows for all of them at once. That way I don't have to switch back and forth between markers. So next I'll bring in the E70 and I'll start to pull those shadows out a bit more, still saving some room for a nice highlight. So by the way, if you're looking for a different combo to color your mice, I do have a video where I showed you 8 different ways to color mice and gave you some little details that you can add and things like that. So definitely check that video out if you're looking for a new combo. And by the way, I am not coloring the little mouse that you only see the head and arms of above. We'll get to that one later on. So I have switched now to the W1 and I'm filling in most of the mice with that. I'm leaving a little extra highlight on the face, and then I'm also adding in some W1 to the inner ear and the belly. And then I will use the W00 for the rest of the face and the inner ear and the belly. But I did leave some white space on the inner ear and belly so that it looks really soft. Then I'm going to use just my warm grays for a few accessory images like the white parts of my stocking and my 2 candles. And then I will also use those for the speaker part of my radio and the white of the Santa hat on that one mouse on the left. Then I'm going to switch to some brown shades. I'm using E31, E33, and E35 for my gingerbread. I like to change it up with the gingerbread. Sometimes I'll go with a little bit more of a reddish brown so it looks like it's got more molasses in it. There's different kinds of gingerbread, so I think, you can switch it up. But today I thought that this color palette would suit the inspiration photo that I'm using with the more kind of brighter neon colors. So I just wanted to go with more basic neutrals for the rest of these items that aren't in that color palette. So I'm also going to do my 2 little ginger mice. I love those images. I think they are so cute and creative. So just coloring them to match since they are also made from the same gingerbread. And then I'm also going to do the antlers on my mouse on the right. And I'm going to be a bit more heavy-handed with the darker shades. So now that I've got my neutrals done, I'm going to start bringing in the colors from that inspiration photo. And the first one I'm going to do is hot pink. And I'm going to take RV10 and RV11, which are a bit paler, but I'm just going to do my mice's noses and rosy cheeks and inner ears. So RV11 first, and then blending out with the RV10. And I did go back in with a second layer of the RV11 because it wasn't quite dark enough for me. And then I am going to take away that RV10. I don't need that anymore. And just use the other 3 shades. So RV11, RV13, and RV14. So I'm going to start with the bow. I'm going to do anything that would typically be red in a traditional Christmas color palette. And I'm going to do that in the hot pink combo. So RV14 is going to be first. I'm going to do the bow and one of the stockings. I did the heart on the second stocking, and I'm blending out that RV14 with the RV13 and then using the RV11 for the highlight. Then I'm going to do the bow on the round present, which I like to imagine is a wheel of cheese, maybe some brie or some nice camembert. So I'm coloring that in with this hot pink combo as well. I'm going to do the Santa hat on the mouse on the left. I'll also do some of the gumdrops in front of the gingerbread house. I'm just going to do one and then skip two, and then do one and skip two all the way across, which made it even, which was nice. Since there is no orange in this color palette, I decided to do the little Duck Toys beak pink. And then I'm also going to do that other little mouse pink because I wanted it to be a toy, like a little Christmas gift. So I thought the hot pink would be fun for that. I'm also coloring a few additional images off screen, which I'll show you at the end of the coloring. Next up is going to be yellow, and I'm going to use Y quadruple 0, Y11, Y13, and Y15. For most things, I'm just going to use the darkest three shades. So I'm starting with the Y15. I'm going to color in the duck toy. I'm going to do the cheese gift and the flames on my candles. And then I'll blend that out with the Y13. And then I'll fill in with the Y11. And then I am just filling in the little holes in the cheese with that Y15. But I pulled out the 4 shades because I wanted to color in this Christmas tree that is made of cheese. And it's such a large image that I just felt like 3 shades weren't going to give me the dimension that I wanted. So I am starting with my darkest once again, the Y15, and I'm adding in my shadows wherever I think that they should go. And then I'm going to start to blend that out with the Y13, just really pulling over the edge of the Y15 and smoothing that darkest color out into this midtone or one of the 2 midtones. Then I'll come in with the Y11 and continue coloring. And then I'll use that Y quadruple 0 for a nice highlight. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to color the bottom part to look like cheese as well, or if I was just going to color it brown or a different color, but I ended up deciding to just make it the cheese. Then I will do the little window above the door on my gingerbread house as if it's maybe like a lemon candy. And then I'm going to move to the lighter of my 2 green combos. So there's a lighter-ish, medium-toned, I guess, green combo in that color palette. And then there's also a really dark green combo. And they're both kind of blue-toned. So that's why I went with the Gs and not the YGs. So I'm using G12, G14, and G16, and I'm going to do the Christmas tree on the gift bag. I'll do the mug, which is from the Holiday Helpers stamp set. I'm going to do some more of my gumdrops and the little pull bead on the end of the duck toy. And then I am also going to do the other stocking in this combo, just coloring carefully around that little heart. Since those were the traditional kind of Christmas colors, I'm kind of sticking with that. And I also did the band of my mouse's reindeer hat and the base of the candles, even though I knew those weren't going to show, but just in case I went ahead and colored them in. And then I'm going to switch to my darker of the 2 green combos. I'm going to keep the G16 to kind of tie them together, but I added in G19 and G28. And I'm going to do the door on my gingerbread house, and I'm also going to do this round gift. I will say that the G16 and the G19 aren't that much different, but there's enough of there to just give it like a little bit of an extra highlight. Then I'm switching to the blue, and the closest that I could get to the blue in that inspiration photo was BG05, BG07, and BG09. I'm going to do the sweater of the mouse in the middle. I'll do my other two gumdrops and the bow on the cheese gift. So using those three shades. And then I felt like I wanted to go just a little bit softer, so I did bring in the BG02 marker, and I'm going to do the star on top of the tree. I didn't want that to be cheese as well, although you certainly could have it be cheese. And I'll do the gift bag, and so I blended out with the BG05 and then that BG02, but the BG02 was really dry. I am in desperate need of a Copic marker maintenance day. I just need a day where I can do it because it takes me hours, and I just need to do it. And I have been putting it off for a really long time, but a lot of my markers are getting dry, so I really am going to have to do that soon. And by the way, if you're looking for a video to help you out on how to refill your markers and how to keep them in good condition, I do have a video on that in my Copic's favorites playlist. So I used the BG01 instead, and then I switched to the BG00 for the whipped cream on my mug and the icing on my gingerbread house and the snowflake on the sweater. And then I trimmed all of these images out with their matching dies, and I'll show you the other panel as well. For my background, I'm going to be using some pattern paper from the Candy Cane Lane 6x6 pad. So I'm flipping through until I find this little print with the tiny Christmas trees, and it's in more of that blue-green tone, so I thought that would work well. I also pulled out a piece of the light brown wood grain cardstock, and I'm going to trim both of those out with the largest of the large stitch rectangle stackables. And then I've also trimmed out just a thin strip of plain white cardstock, and that's going to be my baseboard. But before I put that together, I need to stamp my sentiment, and so I am inking up one from the Cheesy Christmas, and it says "Rockin' Around the Christmas Cheese," which I thought was really funny. I'm inking that up with Versafine Onyx Black ink and stamping it onto a simple wavy banner. And then I'm going to pop my card base in my MISTI. I'm just using some craft cardstock for that. And I'm going to stamp on the inside using walnut ink. So I chose the other little mouse and another sentiment that says, "We Swiss you a Merry Christmas." I love the puns in this set. It's just too good. So I'll set that aside, and I'm going to adhere my pattern paper and my cardstock to my card base. And my Barely Art Precision Craft Glue has a little bit of a clog in it, so that wasn't coming out quite right, but I will clean that out in just a second here. So I'm going to attach the pattern paper to fit the entire front of the card, and I did have to just trim down a little bit from the left side. There was a little bit too much of that cardstock showing, the craft cardstock, and that is when I unclogged my glue there, so I can glue the floor to the bottom. I need about half of the area on the card front to be the floor, and then I'm going to add my baseboard right over top of that. So I'll just add a bead of glue and then line that up with the top of the wood grain piece. Make sure that that is on there nice and straight, and then I can bring in my images. So there is going to be a lot going on in this scene. I really packed it as full as I could. I just really love nice and full scene cards because they give you so much to look at. But I do have to be very careful to space things out correctly so that I have room for everything that I stamped. So I'm kind of laying some of the bigger images out and just making sure that I still have room for the sentiment up above. I'll go ahead and glue the fireplace into position, and then right at the top of that I'm going to add the large bow. And then before that glue is dry on the bow, I'm going to tuck the radio behind that over on the right hand side. And then I have two little candles that I'm going to tuck in over on the left. I just have to find the other one. There's so many little bits in there, it was difficult to find. But anyway, Eventually I got it, and I am going to add both of those candles over toward the left-hand side of the mantle. But I want one of the candles to be a little bit taller and one to be a little bit smaller. And I didn't have quite enough room to tuck that candle down further, so I'm just going to trim off a sliver from the bottom so I can tuck that down and make the one that is in the middle a little bit taller. And then I wanted to add some holly to the mantle, and I was just trying to figure out how that was going to fit. It didn't quite fit the way that I had laid it out, so I decided to put it over by the radio instead. So I just shifted the radio slightly more toward the center to make room for it, and then I'll tuck that holly over on the far right. Then I need to add my little carpet below my Christmas tree, and I need to make sure that my sentiment is still going to fit. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that now so I don't forget about it. And I'm going to have that hanging over the right hand side just a tiny bit, and then I will trim off that excess a little bit later. And but I'm going to continue on now, adding that carpet under the Christmas tree so we have a nice little area for our gifts. And then I'll glue that Christmas tree or Christmas cheese over top of that. And then to decorate the tree, because I wanted to add a bit of color to it, so it's not just this really large yellow block in the center of the card, I decided to use these little pennant banners from the Fly High stamp set. I thought that was just something a little bit fun and different. I've never seen anybody put these on a tree, but I don't know. Since I already had that Fly High stamp set out, I thought that might be something unique. So I added those to the tree, and then I'm going to place the gingerbread house and some of the gifts at the base of the tree. So I'm just kind of figuring out the placement of those, using those as placeholders while I figure out some of the rest of this. I also wanted to add those little gingerbread mice into the stockings, so I'm just adding a little bit of glue to their feet, and they are like perfectly sized to just stick out of the stockings like that with their arms stretched out. So I added those, and then I'm going to glue those to my mantle, just have those hanging down in front of the fireplace. Super cute. I love tiny little detail images. I think they really can make a card look extra special. So I am going to continue now with the gifts under the tree and figure out those. And also just make sure that I am leaving room for my mice. So you'll see me kind of lay things out a few times and just double check that everything is in position how I envisioned it from the start. And then once I'm happy, I will start gluing everything down. Everything is going to be flat on this card today. It just makes it easier for mailing, especially at the Christmas season when you're mailing so many cards and you just want to save a little bit on your postage. And if they're going overseas, especially, sometimes it's nice to just have a flat card ready to go. So I added that little toy mouse hanging over the cheese gift, and then I added my gingerbread house on the left side of the tree. I'm going to add the mouse that is wearing the reindeer antlers over near the fireplace, and he's going to be lifting up his mug of cocoa in a toast. And then the mouse with the snowflake sweater is going to go towards the center, and then the final little mouse will go over on the left-hand side there. I love these little guys. I just think they're so cute, and the way that they're moving is so much fun. I added the duck pull toy over toward the bottom right corner. Really, I wanted to pull some of that yellow down towards that area of the card to just make it look a bit more balanced. And then I'm going to add some of the candy canes to my tree, and also I added one to the mouse on the left's hand, since his hand was kind of outstretched there, just so he looks extra festive. I'll add a last little candy cane to my tree, And then I wanted to use this holly because I just didn't want to have a leftover image. So I was trying to see where it would work. And I kind of liked it on the top of the gingerbread house. So I decided to add that over there on the left. And then I wanted to fill in some of the empty spaces on the card with some of these music notes. So I just stamped those in black and die cut them with the matching dies. And I'm going to add them here and there around the scene to go with the sentiment, since that is a Christmas song. So I'll just add those, and then I am going to grab my Cutter Bee Teflon coated scissors and trim off the end of that banner so it's flush with the right side of the card. And then of course I needed to add a bit of glitter, so I'm bringing in my favorite Stardust Stickles. I'm going to add it to the whites of my stockings and the star on my tree. I added it to the pennant banners. I'm going to put it on the holly berries and the Christmas tree on the gift bag and the bows on my gifts, the marshmallow topping of the cocoa, the fire in the fireplace and on the candles, the gumdrops, the icing, the Christmas snowflake on the sweater. I mean, I really kind of went to town, but I mean, if there's any time to go to town with the glitter, it's Christmas, isn't it? So there is another peek at the inside and an up-close look at all of the detail of this card. I had so much fun creating it, so I hope you really enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button and leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell if you want to be alerted when I post new videos. All of the products that I used today will be listed and linked in the description bar below the video in case you'd like to pick up anything for yourself. And if you'd like to keep watching, here is day 3 of the previous 2 years of holiday card series on screen. You can click on either one to check them out. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I hope you had a good one, and I'll see you soon in another video. Bye-bye.